Hello and welcome to Boundaries at Work. The average employee will spend 90,000 hours at work over a lifetime. So having good boundaries is really crucial to supporting your well-being and being able to thrive in predominantly white environments. Work is a strange phenomenon that didn't exist in pre-colonial times in the form that we see it today. So if you've ever wanted to escape, that's absolutely understandable. The focus of work in pre-colonial times wasn't to build financial wealth. It was about making food, tending to the land and accommodation, creative practices like making music, jewelry, or clothing, managing conflict with neighboring communities, and divinatory or ancestral practices. Everyone would have their role and would be able to contribute in different ways. A lot of contemporary work is desk-based, using screens and technology, and it involves collaborating in teams with a predominantly white majority. Company profits are usually split unequally, with a few people at the top earning a lot of money and everyone else earning substantially less. There's hierarchy, and senior managers tend to have more flexibility, autonomy, and financial rewards. So everyone else strives to get into those positions by ascending the corporate ladder. The Black experience at work is full of overt and covert violence. Whether it's about pay and white people being promoted faster than you, having to work 10 times as hard and burning out, masking your true self in order to be palatable to the white gaze, daily microaggressions and racist remarks, or the loneliness of being the only one or one of the few Black people in the team. Work impacts our body and mind in countless ways. The more hostile the environment is, the more stress we feel and the more likely we are to engage in unhealthy coping strategies. Even if the work environment is supportive, it still takes up a huge amount of time, as well as mental and emotional energy. For people who are really busy, work is like having a demanding partner. And if you're in a relationship, you might struggle to spend time with your actual partner. We're going to explore quiet quitting, a term that has become really trendy since Brian Creeley, a corporate recruiter, brought it to TikTok and YouTube. Quiet quitting isn't actually about quitting your job. It's about doing what's required by your job description and not going above and beyond that. These are some examples of quiet quitting. They won't all be possible in every role, and how you do them will depend on your individual psychology and personality. Quiet quitting means that you have more energy for life and for your relationships. You can support your mental health and trauma recovery. Your sleep improves, and chronic illness symptoms can reduce. It's also a liberation practice to resist depression and a way to balance your work with the rest of your life. If you struggle with the idea of quiet quitting, think about whether it's because you have some perfectionist traits. Perfectionism is fed by white supremacy because it's another way to keep Black people burnt out, exhausted, and preoccupied with work rather than embracing their greatness. There's nothing wrong with wanting to do your best, but when you're overworked and burnt out, it's a sign from your body that you're doing too much. Imagine approaching your workday with the standard of good enough rather than being perfect. Write down what you would do differently and how it would positively impact your mental and physical health. Studies have shown that Black folks are more likely to thrive when working remotely. Some of that is due to having space away from the white gaze and being able to reduce masking, show up more authentically, and have more time for loved ones. Not everyone can work remotely, but if you're able to, then consider advocating for that option, even if you're not in a senior position. The pandemic has shown us that we have the technology to make it happen. The innate creativity and entrepreneurial spirit of Black folks is often stifled by work culture. So as you start to implement healthy work boundaries, think about whether you can repurpose some of that energy for projects that you enjoy outside of your work. They don't necessarily need to be paid, but if they are, it could help you to reduce the amount of time you spend at work. According to ActionAid, women perform 75% of unpaid labor globally, dedicating on average 4 hours and 25 minutes daily, more than 3 times the average of men, who spend 1 hour and 23 minutes doing unpaid labor. Across the world, women and girls are performing more than 3/4 of the total amount of unpaid care and domestic work, and 2/3 of care workers are women. In countries where women spend twice as much time as men in caring duties, they earn only 65% of what their male counterparts would earn in the same job. The Young Women's Trust used government data to calculate the contribution of women 18 to 30 to Britain's economy. Women bring in more money than the entire financial sector, and global data suggests that the same is true for other Western countries as well. Assuming that you're close to the statistic on women's unpaid labor, make a list of the things you do every day that you don't receive payment for. Include everything you can think of, no matter how small. These are some basic work needs, and regardless of your role, if it's a healthy workplace, you should be able to get them met. If they're not met, then seriously consider whether staying in that workplace is in your best interest. Have a look at the categories on the screen and define your work boundaries. Do you have any pre-existing boundaries that you might want to tweak with the information you have available? Take some time to craft your boundaries and reflect on your needs, and I'll see you in the next training.